All right. Welcome to another narration of mine. Settle in for a moment. This is where the voices I carry meet the version of the truth most people avoid, and where the things we uncover tend to stay with us long after the story ends. Only the brave souls and the fearless ones stay until the end. So if you're reading this thinking it's just another Reddit creepypasta, I hope you're right. I really hope this is just some insane fever dream I wake up from. But I know it's not. It's too real. Way too real. Let me rewind. I've always been kind of a tech nerd. Like, I was the weird kid in high school who could jailbreak your iPhone, install custom firmware on your PS4, or crash your school's entire Wi-Fi for a couple hours just for fun. Not gonna lie, that little rush from breaking through firewalls and sneaking around where I wasn't supposed to be, it made me feel untouchable. Anyway, fast forward to a few months ago, I found this forum through a Discord invite. It was buried deep in a Tor thread, hidden behind a bunch of encrypted messages and dead links. The people in there were legit, real hackers, not just edgy kids posting Mr. Robot memes. They were trading scripts, docs dumps, malware, stuff I'd only ever read about in theory. I was way out of my depth, but they let me stick around, probably because I shared a couple tools I made for brute-forcing admin logins. Then one day, someone posted a link with a caption that just said, "Gov tier DB, unpatched, real shit. Try not to scream." It was a onion link behind 2 password prompts and a weird CAPTCHA that didn't ask for letters or numbers, but images of body parts. Not normal ones either. Like decayed ones. I still remember it asked me to select all the mouths that are smiling, and they were just rows of rotted teeth in pitch-black gums. I got in, and I wish I hadn't. It looked like a basic dashboard at first. A search bar, filters, and a list of log entries, dates, IPs, names. But the names weren't random. They were people I knew. My high school math teacher, my ex-girlfriend from college, my childhood neighbor who died last year. And then I saw mine, my full name. I clicked it. I expected maybe some social media leaks or emails, maybe a few passwords if it was pulling from one of those old breached data dumps. But what came up was like a full psychological profile. Every address I've ever lived at, my medical history, from birth to present. Mental health notes from a therapist I only saw once in 2017. Full call logs, photos, emails. I thought I'd deleted permanently. Chat logs with girls I flirted with when I was 17. The name of my childhood dog. My parents' social security numbers. My mom's abortion from 1993. The birth certificate of my stillborn sister I never knew existed. Photos of her. Post-mortem photos. And then it got worse. There were audio files, recordings. One of them was a call I made to my dad last year after my grandma died. Word for word. Another one was a phone sex call I had when I was drunk one night 2 years ago with someone I met on a cam site. But the most disturbing one? It was me. Breathing. Sleeping. The unmistakable rasp of my breathing in my sleep. I recognized the way I grind my teeth. The file was time-stamped last week. I sat there, frozen, the only light in the room, coming from my screen. I heard my own voice, sleeping, played back to me like some sick joke. I slammed my laptop shut so fast, I cracked the corner of the screen. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I found an email from an encrypted address. No subject line, no body, just an attachment. It was a screenshot from my webcam, taken at 3:14 a.m. Me, hunched over, staring at the screen. And in the reflection of the window behind me, there was someone standing in my doorway. I live alone. After puking into the sink, I ran out of my apartment, sat in my car, and just drove for hours. No music, no talking, just silence and the sound of my heart trying to beat its way out of my chest. I finally stopped in the parking lot of a Walmart 2 towns over and opened the email again. Under the image, there was a second message now. Want it gone? $5,000, BTC. You have 72 hours. At this point, I was half laughing because it felt like a movie, like some twisted Black Mirror bullshit. But I was also crying because I realized it wasn't just about me. They had info on everyone. My mom, my brother, my nieces and nephews. Hell, even my landlord from 2 years ago, who used to touch himself in his boxers when I paid rent in person. Yeah, they had videos of that too. I don't know how. I don't know why. I had some savings. Not much, but enough. I sent the Bitcoin to the wallet they listed. I begged. I emailed them again and again. I said I wouldn't talk. I said I wouldn't report it. I said I'd do anything. They replied with a smiley face. That's it? Then my phone started buzzing non-stop. Hundreds of texts from random numbers. Photos of me in the shower, of my ex, of my mom. Recordings of my own voice saying things I never said. Deep fakes of me doing horrible things. I don't even want to describe them. Unspeakable shit. They posted it. They posted all of it. To sites I didn't even know existed. Red rooms, fetish boards, leaked image sites. Some of it was real, some of it was fake. But to the internet, it didn't matter. The lines were blurred. And the worst part? I think they're still watching me. Because yesterday, I got a new package in the mail. No return address, just a USB stick inside. Plugged it in. It was a live feed of me sitting at my desk, typing this. That USB drive, the one that showed a live feed of me at my desk. It was coming from somewhere inside my apartment. The angle wasn't from my laptop. It was above me, like from one of the vents. I froze, then snapped my head up. Nothing. But then I remembered something I saw a long time ago in a video. Cheap cameras hidden inside smoke detectors. I pulled a chair over, yanked the plastic shell off mine, and there it was. Tiny black dot, barely noticeable, wired through the ceiling. I ripped it out so fast, I didn't even care about the sparks or the piece of drywall that came with it. It took less than a minute after I destroyed it for my phone to buzz. Unknown number. We see you? Camera 2 is better, anyway. I dropped the phone. It shattered on the floor. The next day, I packed up and left. I didn't even clean up the blood from my hand after I cut it, yanking the camera out. I left my laptop, my clothes, my cat's food bowl. I left everything. Just grabbed my wallet, car keys, and ran. It was like something primal took over. Like I was running from a predator. And in a way, I was. I drove 6 hours to my uncle's old cabin upstate. Nobody uses it anymore. He died in 2019, and the place has been empty since. No Wi-Fi, no neighbors, just trees and silence. I figured if I was going to deal with this, I'd need to go completely dark. But I should have known better. You can't run from something that's already inside you. That night, I sat on the dusty old couch with a burner phone I picked up on the way. No accounts logged in, no SIM card. Just used it to check if anything new had been posted about me. I shouldn't have. But curiosity is a sick little drug. There were threads, dozens of them, on sites you can't even access without a certain browser plugin and a few passwords. My full name in the titles. People discussing me like I was some sort of celebrity. OP deserves it, TBH, one said. Another said, his mom looks better in the dog mask. Someone else posted coordinates. My coordinates. It gets worse. They had a leaderboard. I'm not even kidding. It was called the Whispers List, a ranking of victims based on how much data they'd harvested from them, how much they'd leaked, and how many people were envying. I was number 3, out of hundreds, and next to each name was a little timer, like a countdown. Mine was ticking down from 72 hours. I thought maybe they were giving me time again to pay up. Maybe they were gonna escalate things once it hit 0. But what kind of escalation comes after leaking your therapy transcripts and a video of your mom crying in the shower? I found out the next night. I was lying in the cabin bed under a musty old blanket when I heard a thud on the porch. Just one. Like someone stepped onto the wood and stopped. My breath caught in my throat. I turned off the old lantern and laid completely still. Another thud, then another, slow, deliberate. They knew I was here. I reached for the hunting rifle my uncle used to keep mounted over the fireplace. The thing was dusty as hell, but loaded. I crouched by the window and peeked through the cracked curtain. No one, just woods. Then, knock, knock, knock. They were at the back door. I aimed the rifle, heart pounding so hard I thought it'd give me away. But nothing happened. No more knocks, no footsteps, just silence, until the door slowly creaked open on its own. I screamed, fired a shot without thinking. It lit the whole room up and echoed like hell. Splinters flew. But there was no one there, just the door swinging open in the wind. And taped to the outside, a single Polaroid photo. It was of me, from 5 minutes ago, asleep in the bed. Behind me, in the photo, someone was crouched at the foot of the bed, wearing my face. I don't know how they did it. Deepfake, makeup, mask. Whatever it was too real. They even had my old scar above my left eyebrow. I turned and looked at the bed. Nothing there, but the photo was still warm. It had just developed. The timer was still ticking. I was down to 64 hours. At that point, I said, screw it. I left the cabin and drove to the one person who might understand. My friend Nate. He used to do pen testing work, broke into networks for banks and private clients just to show them their vulnerabilities. If anyone could help, it was him. I got to his apartment around 4 a.m., banged on the door until he opened up, groggy and confused. When I told him what happened, I expected him to laugh or call me paranoid. He didn't. He just went pale. He sat me down and showed me his laptop. He'd seen the threads. He knew about the Whispers list. He said he thought it was just urban legend, that people were being harvested for screams, not money. They call it scream harvesting, he said. They gather the most disturbing, personal, violating shit they can. Trauma generates interest. Interest makes views. And they sell that. Real horror, real people. No scripts. I asked him how they could get into my webcam, my phone, even know my thoughts. His answer? You let them in, man. The second you clicked that link on the dark web, that was the contract. You didn't read it, but you signed it. I threw up in his sink. Before I left, Nate handed me an old drive and said, if anything happens to me, plug this in and run the script. It'll wipe your digital life, all of it. But once you run it, there's no going back. I didn't even get back to my car before I got the text. Nate was fun. You're next. I ran back up. His apartment door was open. He wasn't there. Just his laptop. Still running. The webcam light was on. Recording. The timer hit 63 minutes, 2 seconds, and 16 frames. And it's still counting down. After I found Nate's place empty, with his laptop still recording, like he had just stepped out for a second, I grabbed the external drive he gave me. It was this old, beat-up silver thing, with scratches across the casing, like someone dragged a key through it. No label. No serial number. Just cold metal. The timer on my phone was down to 63 hours by then. And I swear to God, with every hour that passed, I could feel something watching me harder, like a pressure in the air, like the world was holding its breath. I drove to this abandoned parking garage behind a mall that's been dead since 2018. Figured it'd be better than going back home, or to the cabin, or anywhere they'd expect. I parked on the 4th floor, where there were no lights, just concrete, broken glass, and the sound of the wind echoing like something whispering through the pillars. I set up Nate's drive on my backup laptop, this old ThinkPad that doesn't even have a working fan. The moment I plugged it in, the screen flickered like it was glitching. Then a folder popped up on its own. Do not run. Yeah, great start. Inside was one file. A script. No title. No extension. Just a blank icon with a timestamp from months ago, before any of this started. I hesitated for like a full 10 minutes. My hands were shaking. The trackpad kept registering ghost clicks. But I kept thinking about Nate's face when he told me to use it. If anything happens. And something did happen. Something bad. So, I ran it. The screen went black. Not off. Just black. Like the computer was still alive, but the display was being swallowed by something. Then a line of text appeared in the center. You shouldn't have come here. The text kept rewriting itself, letter by letter. Why did you let them in? Then, we see you. My breath fogged the air. I hadn't realized how cold it got inside the garage. I pulled my hoodie tighter, but it didn't help. It felt like the temperature dropped 20 degrees out of nowhere. Then the laptop speakers made this distorted, crackling noise, like static from a baby monitor. Slow at first, then louder. Then something inside the static started forming shapes, words that weren't really words, breathing that wasn't mine. It sounded like someone dragging their nails over concrete. Not fast, slow, like they were savoring it. The black screen flickered, and suddenly, the camera feed turned on by itself. Full screen. No controls. No window border. Except, it wasn't my camera. It was showing third-person footage of me sitting in that car. Like someone standing outside the vehicle was watching me through the windshield. But no one was there. I checked like 10 times. The lot was empty. Every floor. But the feed wasn't lying. The angle was from eye level. Behind me. Then text appeared over the video. We're not after your data anymore. We want your fear. My mouth went completely dry. My heart felt like it stopped. Because I knew what this was. What Nate meant by scream harvesting. They weren't just collecting information. They were feeding off reactions. It wasn't about blackmail. It was entertainment. Real, live suffering. And I was stimulus. The garage lights, the ones that were dead for years, flickered on one by one, buzzing like angry insects. One overhead bulb exploded, raining glass across the hood of my car. I flinched, practically folded in half. The camera feed zoomed in on my face, automatically. No hands on the laptop. Then another message. Look left. My whole body locked up. I didn't want to. I didn't want to so badly that tears literally spilled down my face. But my head turned anyway, like something else had control. There was nothing, just a support pillar, cracked, stained concrete. So I looked back at the screen and nearly threw the laptop across the car. The feed now showed a figure standing next to my driver's side window, inches away from me. Tall, shoulders too broad, head tilted at an angle that looked way past human. A smear of something dark across its chest. But the part that knocked the air out of my lungs? Its face was my face. Except wrong. Like someone took my face and stretched it over a mannequin's skull. No eyes. Just pits. No mouth. Just a slit. Pale skin, smeared like wet clay. And when I moved, even slightly, it twitched, like it was mimicking me a second too late. The laptop started typing by itself again. Don't turn around. It hates when you see it directly. My whole body pulsed with this animal instinct I can't even explain. Fight or flight feels way too tame for it. This was something deeper, like a part of me that remembered being prey. I forced myself to look at the window anyway, slow, shaking so bad my teeth were clacking. Nothing. Just my reflection. But in the reflection, there was something faint behind me, like a blur, like heat distortion, except the shape moved closer, inch by inch. I slammed the laptop shut and floored it out of there so fast I almost crashed into a pillar. Tires screeching, metal rattling, engine roaring, like it was screaming for me to go faster. I didn't stop driving for hours. I didn't breathe normally for even longer. By the time I finally pulled into a run-down motel off the interstate, the timer had dropped to 61 hours. And then my burner phone buzzed. A new message from Nate. Except the contact photo wasn't him. It was the blurred shape behind me. The message said, "Why did you leave?" We weren't finished. And under it, a new countdown. 60:0:0, harvest begins soon. So, yeah. If you're still reading this, I'm guessing you're not expecting a happy ending. Good, because there isn't one. Not yet, at least. If you've read everything so far, you already know what I'm dealing with isn't some dude in a hoodie behind a laptop. This thing isn't human. Maybe it never was. When I got to the motel, I was so fried I barely remembered how I got there. The place was this run-down piece of shit off Route 12, flickering neon sign, paint peeling like sunburned skin, and a front desk clerk that looked like he hadn't blinked since 2003. He didn't ask for my ID, just stared at me a little too long and handed me a key with a big red 208 written on the tag. I asked if they had Wi-Fi. He just laughed. I needed sleep. Like real, blackout, body shutting down sleep. I hadn't gotten more than maybe 20 minutes at a time since I ran the script. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd hear the static again. Or worse, that voice. That thing that sounds like me, but isn't. Room 208 was near the end of the second floor. Lights were out in most of the rooms. Place smelled like mildew and piss. Not even like someone had cleaned it badly. Like no one had cleaned it in years. Whatever. I was past caring. I shut the door behind me, bolted it, pushed the dresser in front of it, and collapsed on the bed. I don't know how long I was out. I woke up drenched in sweat. The kind of sweat that sticks to your back and soaks into your underwear. My mouth tasted like metal. My ears were ringing. And something was scratching at the wall behind the bed. Soft, slow, like nails across drywall. At first, I thought maybe it was rats or raccoons. Maybe a branch. Maybe my brain, still glitching from the shit I saw in the parking garage. Then I heard the voice. But not in the room. In my head. Clear. Crisp. Like a whisper through a broken phone speaker. They're in room 209. Don't let them see you. My eyes shot open. I was wide awake now. 209 was next door. I hadn't heard anyone come or go. The parking lot was empty when I arrived. But now, I heard footsteps, heavy ones, and something dragging, like skin. I pressed my ear against the wall between 208 and 209. And what I heard will never, ever leave me. It was a child crying, but not a normal cry. This was distorted, like a baby whale underwater, or a VHS tape slowing down. And then something started mocking it. I don't know how else to explain it. It was mimicking the crying. Same pitch, same rhythm, but robotic, mechanical. Like it didn't understand why babies cry, but wanted to pretend it did. Then it laughed. The kind of laugh that doesn't come from a throat. The kind that comes from somewhere deeper, like bones grinding together. I backed away from the wall and tripped over the corner of the bed. I barely caught myself before I hit the floor. And that's when I saw the note. There was a folded piece of yellowed paper on the nightstand. I swear it wasn't there before. I checked the whole room when I got in. Twice. I opened it, written in thick, black marker. Room 209 was condemned in 2007. If you hear something from it, don't listen. If they knock, don't answer. If they cry, don't comfort them. And no matter what, don't look through the peephole. I stared at that last line for a long time. My stomach felt like it was tying itself into knots. I turned toward the door slowly. The hallway outside was dead quiet. Then I heard 3 knocks from next door. Not at my door. 209's, followed by silence. Then it knocked again. But this time, from my side, like something moved through the wall. Like it was inside my room now, just on the other side of the bathroom door. I didn't move. I couldn't move. I was frozen in place, like a kid who thinks the monster won't get him if he doesn't breathe. Then the bathroom door opened on its own, only a few inches. Darkness spilled out, thick, black, like the air itself was bleeding. And from the crack, a voice whispered, "Your mom's funeral was beautiful. Pity you missed it. My mother's not dead. I called her 2 days ago, but when I picked up my phone to call her again, the wallpaper had changed. It was a picture of her, eyes shut, makeup done, lying in a casket." I threw the phone across the room. It rang. Unknown number. I picked it up without thinking. On the other end, static. Then something gasping, struggling, wet, like a body drowning in its own spit. And then, "Help me." It was Nate. I swear to God it was his voice, sobbing, pleading, saying they had him in some basement, locked in a room with no light, no food. But the way he said it, the words were right, but the rhythm was off, like someone playing a familiar song on an out-of-tune piano. Then the voice changed mid-sentence. It started using my voice. Same pitch, same tone. It even said things I've only ever said to myself in the mirror. Things I've never told anyone. Like how I thought about driving into a tree last year. Or how I lied when I told my brother I forgave him after what he did to me when we were kids. Things no one else knows. And then it said, "We fed on those secrets. We grow stronger with every scar." Suddenly, the bathroom light snapped on by itself. It flickered like a dying bulb. And then I saw it. Not clearly, just a glimpse. But what I saw looked like me. Naked, emaciated, mouth sewn shut with wire, eyes wide and unblinking, standing in the corner of the bathroom, arms twitching like they were on marionette strings. And then it ran at me. I slammed the door, shoved the dresser in front of it, and didn't sleep the rest of the night. Just sat in the corner with the rifle across my lap, heart pounding, timer ticking down. By morning, I finally worked up the courage to check the peephole. I shouldn't have. Room 209's door was open, and there were at least 6 people standing in the room, not moving, not blinking, just staring at my door, all of them wearing my face. And on the floor between them, Nate, or what was left of him, except he was still breathing. If you've made it all the way here, then you already know I'm past the point of pretending this is something I can walk away from. Whatever they are, whatever system they've built, whatever game they're playing, I'm the mouse. And they enjoy watching me realize it way too late. When I saw Nate on the floor of room 209, the air in that hallway felt like it thickened, like walking through steam, but cold. Those copies of me just stood there around him, stiff, like mannequins someone forgot to finish assembling. I didn't dare move. Then Nate lifted his head, And even though his face looked wrong, swollen, discolored, a shadow of who he was, his eyes locked onto mine, and there was something real there, something begging. His lips barely moved, but I heard him clearly. "They want your voice." My heart hammered so hard I thought I'd pass out. My voice? What did that even mean? Before I could process it, one of the things wearing my face stepped forward. Its movements didn't look natural, like a puppet whose strings were being jerked too hard. Its eyes weren't eyes at all up close, just dark shapes pressed too deep under skin. It didn't speak, but Nate did, and the words didn't belong to him. They came out in a tone that made my stomach twist, a tone that shouldn't come from a human throat. Calm, too calm, like it was reciting instructions. "You ran the script. You let the gateway open. Now you close it." I didn't understand. I didn't want to. But the copies stepped aside, forming this path straight into 209. It was like they were telling me to enter. The stupid part? I did. The room was colder than outside, despite no AC running. The walls were stained with watermarks, shaped like stretched hands. The air smelled like old electronics and forgotten spaces. And in the center of the room, on the bed, was a laptop. Not mine. I'd never seen it. But it was open and running a program. The window was filled with scrolling lines of data. My data. Everything. Photos, messages, saved passwords, recordings. But underneath all that, there were audio files. Dozens. Labeled timestamps from my life. Arguments, secrets, confessions I made when I thought nobody was listening. All those moments when my voice shook. All the fear, all the shame, all the guilt. That's what they were after. Fear wasn't just entertainment to them. It was fuel. I reached for the laptop, and the moment my fingers touched the keyboard, a new line appeared. Confirm deletion? Yes? No. I didn't hesitate. I clicked yes. The lights in the room flickered. The floor vibrated. Something deep beneath the motel, deeper than a basement ever should go, rumbled like something was shifting awake. The copies behind me let out this low, unified inhale. Not a scream, not a hiss, just a breath, like they were disappointed. A second prompt appeared. Are you sure? This action is irreversible. Behind me, the hallway creaked. Slow steps. Something approaching. Not the copies. Heavier. I clicked yes again. The laptop whined. A sound like a hard drive spinning itself to death. And then the screen went white. Blinding. Too bright. The room felt like it was being pulled inside out. Pressure built in my skull, like my ears were going to burst. Behind me, that heavy presence stopped in the doorway. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. The white screen dimmed, lines of corrupted text flashing faster and faster. Delete, 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 delete. Then, nothing. Just black. The rumbling stopped. The air warmed. And when I finally got the courage to look behind me, the hallway was empty. No copies, no movement, no sound. Even Nate was gone, like he'd been erased too. I stumbled downstairs. The clerk at the front desk was asleep, snoring softly, completely unaware of what had been happening above him. Outside, the sun was coming up. It looked normal. Too normal. I checked my phone. The countdown was gone. Just a blank home screen. No messages, no threats, no unknown numbers. For the first time in days, I felt alone. Like they'd finally let go, or found something, someone else. I drove home. Every mile felt heavier. At my apartment, the lights worked. The doors were locked. My stuff was exactly where I left it. But there's one thing I can't shake. Last night, while I tried to sleep, my phone buzzed once. No number, no message preview, just a single notification. New audio file. Saved. The name of the file? Your Voice, Harvest Number 1. I didn't open it. I won't. Because I already know what's on it. I didn't end anything. I just confirmed something for them. I confirmed I'm still afraid. And fear is the gateway.